This brings up a great question for me that I can hear hundreds of men talking to me, and the same question comes up, which is we're talking about influence
Mhm.
today. We're talking about attention, affection, acceptance, and particularly when we started talking about acceptance, and I love this. I agree with all of what you're saying. It feels right. I can think of moments where I've won in these spaces.
Mhm.
I don't know who credit for this, but some person in my life had said these words, and I use it on Ocean particularly. I'm like, if I was 9 years old, I'd want to be your best friend.
There you go.
If I was 9 years old, man, I would want to be your best friend. And
Perfect. Perfect. Yeah.
I love that.
Yep.
And then it leads me to be curious around how hard to push kids.
Mhm.
Because I can think of times in my life with my boys, they're 9 and 15 right now. And there are times when I've completely ignored their feelings and been like, "You're doing this,"
Mhm.
right? Like I remember
Who hasn't?
fighting with Tiger
What
over
parent hasn't?
basketball.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's like, "I'm
Exactly.
not going in." I'm like,
Yeah.
"You are.
Yes, you are.
You're
Mhm.
going in." And he went in and he had a great time. And
Mhm.
he's like, "I love basketball. I want to do it again."
Yeah.
And I'm like really proud of myself in those moments that I had a spine. I was a father. I was strong. I did encourage him. I believed in him more than he believed in himself in that moment. And there are countless examples of where I think pushing was good. There's also other examples when it's like, hey man, it's your life. These are your choices, and you do you, and I will love you whether you're in the closet or not, or a concert pianist. My question is the same question many men have posed to me is how hard do I push?
Mhm.
Where do I know to go, this is what you're going to do and this is your life? And how do I strike the sweet spot between I know best and I'm your dad,
Mhm.
and you know best, you're a sovereign being?
Yeah. It's a great question. If I think about what you did, you pushed your son to be strong. He made a commitment to play in that game. He felt like a failure. He didn't want to do it for whatever reason. And you said you've made a commitment, you'll fill that commitment. Buck up. And I think that's important because kids will feel insecure. They don't want to do something. They don't want to take the algebra, whatever. But there are things that if you've committed to them, you have to do. And kids depend on their parents to say, you can have courage. You've got backbone. Finish the job or do the job well. So, really, what you're doing is you're pushing them to strengthen a character quality, right? You are brave. You are tough. You are patient. Let's do it. That's very different from finding an activity that you think your child would be good at and they don't want to go and they don't want to go. And you say, well, just give it a whirl. Okay. So you do it for 3 months or semester, whatever. And then you find that the kid's pretty decent at it. They're pretty good. Maybe they're a little more talented than other kids. But at the end of the semester, the kid goes, I hate this. I don't want to do it. You go, you know what? You're really good. You're going to do it. That's beginning to push in a realm you shouldn't be doing it because that's a performance issue for you.
But what about persistence, the character quality of persistence in that case? In the stories you hear where people like, I'm so glad my parents forced me to stay playing the piano because now I can do it. But if they would have let me, I would have quit.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it depends. You have to identify in that kid that they're good at it and that at times they really like it. Okay, so the kid that says, I'm going to quit, I'm out of here at the end of a semester, is a kid who, somewhere in those 3 or 4 months when they're starting it, was really jazzed and really jazzed. But then they thought, this is just much too hard. I don't want to do it. Then you say that this is hard. But I've seen you really like it and I've seen you get really excited about it and I've seen you just want to quit. You're not going to quit. If, however, and you feel and you're seeing that the kid down deep really does like doing it and really can be committed, very different than if you see your child being excellent at something and repeatedly telling you, I hate it, I hate it, I hate it.
Mm.
Um, Case in point, I had a patient who was an outstanding downhill skier. And I've seen a lot of kids who are fabulous athletes who, some way along the way, say they don't just want to quit, they hate it. And they hate it. I mean, they really do. And their parents push, 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 push. Okay. And she she wasn't going to the Olympics, but she was, really, really good. And Junior Olympics or whatever. And she hit sophomore year and she said, I'm done. You don't say anything else to me. If you bring up skiing again, dad and mom, basically, I'm going to run away, which she didn't. That was a kid who felt, and her parents could see it, but they just looked right past it, who felt she had to keep skiing to keep them happy. She had to keep skiing to have them pay attention to her because otherwise they really didn't pay that much attention. And they both, parents and kid, knew they wanted her to keep skiing because it made them feel like proud parents, like good parents. So you have to really kind of do some soul searching. Why am I making my kid do this? Why am I forcing them to get back in the game? Are you really trying to build character, or are you doing it because it makes you feel like a better parent? So you can even stop and ask yourself, you know, am I making my kid, downhill ski or ice skate or play hockey, even though he hates it, because it makes me feel like a better parent? Or am I making him do it because down deep, I know he really likes it, but he's just afraid to keep going? And you can figure that out. I think you can pretty quickly figure that out. And a lot of times it doesn't hurt to ask the kid. Just ask them, why are you doing this? What's fun? What isn't fun? And then if you determine that it's something he wants to do, but he's afraid to do, so then you push, then you say, okay, this is something that you want to do, but you're afraid, or you feel like you can't keep going. But I can sense you want to be there. So I'm going to be here to just nudge you all along the way because I want to teach you persistence is and fortitude are very, very important. Very different from the kid who says, Dad, I can't stand it. And I can't stand you pushing me. A couple months later, Dad, I can't stand it. I can't stand you pushing me. You only want me to do this. Those are some red flags that you better do some soul searching as to why you're pushing the kid.
Well, the way I'm processing this is a kid says, I want to quit and it's today. I want to quit today
Mhm.
versus I want to quit every day.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
I'm having a bad day
I wanna quit.
and
No, 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 no.
I
Yeah.
want to quit.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, it's your life, do whatever you want.
No.
Versus, that kid is happy 9 out of 10 days,
Yeah.
growing, expanding. You can feel it, you can see it. So you talk them through the quitting, the sticking with it process.
Yes.
But if a child's just being beat down,
Yeah.
they're truly like the consequence of persistence outweighs the benefit of gaining the persistent
Correct.
value,
Correct.
then you make a
The
different
other
decision.
thing too is if you have a preteen or a teen and they sign up for a sport for a semester and they've committed to that, they need to finish the season.
Finish this. I like that
Yeah.
idea. Yeah,
They
very much
really
so.
do because they learn is when I make a commitment, I have to follow through even if I hate it.
Mm.
Now, I mean, if the coach is being horrible and all the other players are bullying him and being, I mean, but that usually doesn't happen. So I think that it takes some finesse in figuring it out, but you really can. You're looking for the kid who, over the course of that semester, you see in that kid, he hates it, he hates it, he hates it.
Mm.
But if you see just every once in a while, he goes, I quit, I can't take it. Or halfway through a game, they've made a stupid move, they missed a basket or whatever, and the coach kicks them out and they go, I'm not getting back on that. I'm not going back on that court. This happened to my granddaughter. And her dad said, yeah, you are. No, he started to cry. Yep, get right back out there. And he was right. So and she had a great rest of the game.